Hello, miladies of inestimable value. The deadliest secrets aren't the ones shouted in anger. They're the ones carried in silence with a calm smile that hides an entire storm. Most people think they know the Sigma female. Independent, mysterious, hard to read. But here's the brutal truth. You don't know even half of it. Psychologists have found that humans reveal barely 30% of what they actually think or feel in daily interactions. Sigma females, they reveal even less. What you see on the surface is a carefully curated sliver of reality, a highlight reel edited to perfection, while the raw footage stays locked away where no one can reach it. And that's where things get chilling. Because what Sigma females never reveal is often more intriguing, more dangerous, and sometimes even funnier than what they allow you to see. Imagine a woman who can read your every weakness but smiles like she hasn't noticed, or one who plays clueless while quietly dismantling your ego in real time. It's almost unfair, like playing chess with someone who already knows every move you're going to make, but still pretends to be surprised when you lose. Today we're peeling back that silent curtain. You're about to discover the 20 things Sigma females will never, ever admit out loud. Not to friends, not to lovers, not even to themselves sometimes. And once you know these hidden truths, you'll never look at a Sigma female the same way again. Number 1. They fear becoming untouchable. Sigma females are known for their independence, and it's one of the qualities people admire most about them. They know how to stand on their own 2 feet, make decisions without needing approval, and create a life that doesn't revolve around anyone else's expectations. But beneath that strength lies a truth they rarely share. Sometimes independence becomes a prison. The very walls they built to protect themselves can end up shutting everyone out, leaving them trapped in a space where no one truly gets close. They fear this more than they let on. At first, distance feels like freedom. It keeps away the drama, the constant demands, the exhausting weight of shallow connections. But after years of guarding their emotions, of refusing to rely on anyone, they sometimes look around and realize how untouchable they've become. No one sees their cracks, no one is allowed to, and that invulnerability starts to feel less like strength and more like isolation. Sigma females would never admit this out loud because it contradicts the image they project, the one of self-sufficiency, the one that intimidates others. But in the quiet of their own thoughts, they sometimes wrestle with the idea that their detachment has created a kind of emotional exile. People admire them, respect them, even envy them, but very few ever break past the surface. And when nobody reaches that inner world, it raises a haunting question. What if no one ever does? This hidden fear doesn't make them weak. In fact, it explains why they guard themselves so fiercely. It's not just about avoiding betrayal or disappointment. It's about avoiding the terrifying possibility of being seen completely, only to still end up alone. So they keep their emotions locked up, their guard intact, while secretly wondering if their walls are keeping out the very connection they sometimes crave. The irony is sharp. Sigma females are powerful enough to stand alone, but their greatest unspoken fear is that they'll become so self-sufficient, so unreachable, that one day they'll look around and find no one left to even attempt breaking through. And that's the kind of silence no amount of strength can cover. Number 2. They withhold their greatest ideas. A Sigma female's mind is a quiet storm of brilliance, constantly analyzing, creating, and connecting dots most people don't even see exist. She watches, listens, and pieces together patterns that would overwhelm anyone else. Yet she rarely shows the full extent of what she knows. The reason isn't arrogance, it's survival. The world has a way of taking brilliance and twisting it for its own gain. A Sigma female has learned that when she exposes her most powerful thoughts, she risks them being dismissed, stolen, or weaponized against her. This doesn't mean she hides for no reason. Every withheld idea is calculated. She knows which thoughts are safe to reveal, which will make people uncomfortable, and which could change the way they perceive her entirely. Often she'll drop a hint here or there, a fragment that keeps others intrigued, but the full picture remains locked away. That restraint is part of her power, It keeps people guessing, it commands respect, and it protects her from those who aren't ready to handle the intensity of her mind. There's also a psychological edge to this withholding. By keeping her best ideas private, she maintains control. She watches how people react to what she does reveal, testing their intelligence, ambition, and understanding. Only those who can navigate the subtleties of her mind earn glimpses of her deeper insights. The rest remain unaware of the true scale of her genius, assuming she is only what she chooses to show. At its core, this secrecy isn't about hiding. It's about timing and preservation. A Sigma female knows the world rarely rewards raw brilliance without cost. By holding back, she protects herself from exploitation, misinterpretation, and unnecessary conflict, while still quietly reshaping her environment in ways no one sees coming. Her mind is a vault, and every withheld idea is a reminder. She operates on a level most people can't reach, and she's fully aware of it. In the end, her greatest ideas are her private power, a force she controls entirely, and that is why she never reveals them. Because the moment she does, she loses a piece of herself that no one else is ready to handle. Number 3. They study people like hidden scientists. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to observe without being noticed. In any interaction, they're not just hearing words, they're analyzing tone, body language, micro-expressions, and the subtle inconsistencies that reveal someone's true character. While others are focused on responding, impressing, or performing, a Sigma female is quietly building a mental map of everyone around her. Every joke, hesitation, or over-explained point becomes a data point she files away, connecting patterns that most people would completely miss. This isn't about judgment or cruelty. It's about understanding and self-preservation. By studying people like hidden scientists, she learns who is trustworthy, who is manipulative, and who might pose a threat to her independence. She can predict reactions before they happen, often adjusting her own behavior subtly to test others or to steer a conversation without anyone realizing it. The brilliance lies in her invisibility. People think they are simply interacting normally, while in reality she is dissecting their motives with surgical precision. The depth of her observation goes far beyond surface-level interaction. She notices the little habits that reveal insecurity, the patterns that betray hidden agendas, and the ways people unconsciously reveal their priorities. It's as if she has a radar tuned to human behavior, capturing signals most people don't even know they are sending. This allows her to navigate social dynamics with unmatched subtlety. She rarely confronts or exposes weaknesses directly. Instead, she archives them, knowing that understanding someone fully is far more powerful than acting impulsively. For a Sigma female, this constant observation is both a shield and a tool. It protects her from being manipulated and allows her to operate strategically in every area of life, from friendships to work to intimate relationships. Yet she will never admit the full extent of her analysis because revealing it would dismantle the very advantage that keeps her steps ahead of everyone else. People think they are simply conversing, laughing, or bonding, but the Sigma female has already quietly scanned the entire room, and in her mind, nothing escapes unnoticed. Number 4. They quietly compete with themselves, not others. Sigma females don't measure success by the applause of a crowd or by the number of people they can impress. While most are busy comparing themselves to others, striving to outshine someone else in social or professional arenas, Sigma females are locked in a completely different game, one where the only rival that matters is themselves. Every choice, every accomplishment, every setback is weighed against their own previous performance. The question they ask isn't, "Am I better than her?" or "Did I outperform him?" but rather, "Am I stronger, wiser, or more capable than I was yesterday?" This internal competition is silent and relentless. No one sees the late nights spent honing skills nobody asked for, or the mental battles fought in solitude to overcome self-doubt, fear, or complacency. There's no cheering section, no public recognition, no comparison charts. The Sigma female's victories are often invisible because they exist on a personal scale that others can't touch. What motivates her isn't fame or approval, but mastery of herself, of her thoughts, emotions, and abilities. Interestingly, this self-competition makes her unpredictable. Unlike those who chase others' standards, she isn't bound by social expectations or trends. She moves at her own pace, sets her own rules, and advances in ways that outsiders rarely understand. It also makes her deeply resilient. Failures don't shatter her because she sees them as temporary steps in a larger journey of personal growth. The beauty of this mindset is that it creates someone who is both fiercely independent and quietly unstoppable. The Sigma female's focus on herself allows her to improve continuously, without being distracted by the noise of envy, rivalry, or validation seeking. People might assume she is indifferent to competition, but the truth is she competes every day. Only her opponent is the person staring back at her in the mirror. And because this competition is invisible, no one ever knows the full extent of her ambition or the sheer intensity of her drive. This is why Sigma females often achieve extraordinary things without fanfare. Their battles are private, their victories internal, and their growth unstoppable. A personal revolution no one else can ever fully witness. Number 5. They manipulate energy, not words. Sigma females have mastered a subtle but extraordinary form of influence. They manipulate energy, not words. While most people rely on arguments, debates, or loud declarations to get what they want, Sigma females operate on an entirely different level. They understand that the real power lies not in what is said, but in the mood, the tension, and the invisible currents running through a room. A raised eyebrow, a calm pause, or a slight shift in posture can change the dynamics of an entire conversation without anyone realizing they've been guided. This control is invisible, almost imperceptible. People think they are making their own choices, reacting naturally or asserting dominance, while in reality the Sigma female has already orchestrated the situation. She can drain hostility without confrontation, redirect attention without speaking, and subtly elevate or lower energy in a way that steers outcomes in her favor. She doesn't need to argue to win. She lets the room adjust itself around her presence, often leaving others wondering why they felt compelled to comply. Her mastery of energy comes from acute observation and emotional intelligence. She notices micro-reactions, the smallest shifts in breathing, tone, or body language, and uses them to calibrate her own behavior. A subtle smile can disarm aggression, a measured silence can provoke introspection, and her calm confidence can quiet chaos. Every interaction becomes a dance where she leads without overtly taking the lead, shaping decisions and responses while remaining almost invisible as the source of influence. This kind of power is rare because it requires restraint, patience, and precision. Sigma females never reveal the full extent of their control because doing so would break the spell. They don't need credit, approval, or recognition. The results speak for themselves. In a room full of people pushing and pulling for dominance, she remains untouchable, bending outcomes effortlessly through the invisible currents of energy she alone perceives and commands. Ultimately, manipulating energy rather than words is a demonstration of quiet, strategic brilliance. It's proof that true influence isn't loud or obvious. It's subtle, intangible, and infinitely more powerful than anyone realizes until they are already moved by it. Number 6. They crave deep darkness they'll never admit. Beneath the calm, composed exterior of a Sigma female lies a mind that is far more complex than most realize. While society expects women to chase light, happiness, and comfort, many Sigma females are quietly drawn to the darker sides of life, the parts most people try to ignore or run from. They think about mortality, not with fear, but with curiosity. They study human flaws, contradictions, and destructive behaviors, trying to understand what drives people to both brilliance and chaos. This fascination isn't morbid obsession. It's a hunger for truth, a desire to see life in its raw, unfiltered form. They'll never openly admit this craving because it clashes with societal expectations. A woman who openly examines darkness, who doesn't shy away from the uncomfortable or the unsettling, often makes people uneasy. They risk judgment, misunderstanding, or even alienation. So Sigma females keep this part of themselves private, letting it live in the quiet spaces of thought where no one else can intrude. It becomes a secret playground for exploration, reflection, and sometimes even personal empowerment. This darkness also sharpens them. By confronting what most avoid, they gain perspective and resilience that others can't touch. They understand the fragility of life, the inevitability of failure, and the unpredictability of human nature. And they carry that knowledge with silent confidence. It informs their decisions, their strategies, and their interactions. It allows them to navigate chaos calmly, to predict behaviors that others overlook, and to maintain control when situations spiral. Yet there's a paradox. The deeper they explore darkness, the more society pushes them to fit into light, comfort, and social norms. That tension between internal truth and external expectation creates an enigmatic aura that is unmistakable to anyone observant enough to notice. It's a quiet, magnetic intensity that draws some in and intimidates others. In the end, Sigma females' hidden fascination with darkness is both a shield and a power. It allows them to see life in layers others miss, to remain unshaken in the face of chaos, and to operate on a level of understanding that remains invisible to most. It's a part of them they'll never reveal, but it shapes everything they do, silently defining their brilliance and their enigma. Number 7. They play stupid on purpose. Sigma females have a secret tactic few notice. They sometimes play stupid on purpose. This isn't a lack of intelligence or underestimation of themselves. It's a deliberate strategy. By appearing less capable, less informed, or even naive, they create a controlled experiment to observe how others behave when they think they hold the upper hand. The results are telling. People reveal their arrogance, their insecurity, and their true intentions when they believe someone else is weaker or less aware. This tactic allows Sigma females to gather insights without confrontation. While others rush to prove themselves or dominate a conversation, she quietly measures their behavior, noting who is manipulative, who is opportunistic, and who is genuinely competent. Acting less than gives her access to unguarded moments that would never appear in a standard interaction. It's like watching the layers of a person peel away without ever touching them directly. There's also a subtle psychological advantage. When someone underestimates her, she gains freedom. People let their guard down, make mistakes, and expose their patterns, all while she remains unseen as the observer. Then, when she chooses to act, she does so from a position of complete knowledge, often surprising those who assumed they had control. Her intelligence is never hidden out of insecurity. It's concealed as a form of quiet power, letting her dictate the flow of interactions without anyone realizing it. Playing stupid on purpose is also a protective mechanism. By masking her abilities temporarily, she avoids unnecessary conflict, envy, or sabotage. It ensures that only those who truly deserve her trust and attention are allowed to witness the full extent of her capabilities. In the end, this behavior is a testament to the Sigma female's strategic mind. She doesn't need to dominate or confront to assert control. She lets the world reveal itself to her while she appears harmless, quietly collecting data and understanding human nature at its most raw. And when she finally steps out of that facade, it's always with precision, impact, and authority that leaves others astounded, and often embarrassed that they never saw it coming. Number 8. Their friendships are tactical, not emotional. For Sigma females, friendships are never casual or accidental. They don't collect friends to fill a void or to have someone to pass time with. Instead, every connection is measured, assessed, and carefully considered. From the very first interaction, they observe how genuine a person is, how deeply they think, and whether their actions align with their words. Most people believe friendship is a mutual exchange of time and affection, but for a Sigma female, it's far more strategic. She constantly evaluates whether someone truly deserves a place in her world. This doesn't mean she is cold or incapable of care. She can be fiercely loyal and supportive to those who earn it. But the majority of people who think they are friends are often under silent observation, unknowingly placed on an invisible probation period. One superficial comment, One display of insincerity or one act of disloyalty can quietly remove them from her life without warning or drama. There's no confrontation or public fallout. The cut is subtle, precise, and final. Those who are cut rarely understand why, because the Sigma female never reveals her criteria. They only experience the consequence. Friendships for her are also about energy and compatibility. She doesn't seek large social circles, small talk, or approval from the masses. Instead, she invests in relationships that challenge her, inspire her, and resonate with her core values. If someone is shallow, disingenuous, or draining, they have no place in her life, no matter how long she's known them or how superficially charming they appear. This approach creates an aura of mystery and sometimes discomfort around her social life. People may wonder why she has few close friends or why she seems selective, but this is the power of her strategy. She values quality over quantity, depth over appearances, and loyalty over convenience. Her friendships are deliberate, meaningful, and fiercely protected, and only those who prove their authenticity are granted entry into the rare inner circle she allows. In the end, her friendships are tactical, because survival, authenticity, and emotional safety are non-negotiable. For a Sigma female, every bond is earned, and the world is lucky if she chooses to keep you close. Number 9, they feel disconnected from normal femininity. Sigma females often experience a quiet but profound disconnection from what society labels as normal femininity. While mainstream culture glorifies performative behaviors, the constant polishing of appearance, the social games, the emotional theatrics, Sigma females instinctively resist fitting into that mold. They don't dress, act, or react to please others or conform to expectations. They are not against femininity itself. They simply reject the superficial rituals that society insists define it. This resistance can feel isolating. Even among other women, they sometimes feel like outsiders, observing social dynamics with a mix of curiosity and detachment. While others are engaged in competitions for attention, validation, or approval, Sigma females operate on a different wavelength entirely. They're more interested in substance than style, in depth over drama, in autonomy over approval. The disconnect isn't a rejection of womanhood, it's a rejection of the roles that are imposed by culture rather than chosen by the individual. Because this alienation runs deep, they rarely speak of it. Admitting that they feel out of place among their own gender could be misunderstood as judgment or disdain. Instead, they keep it private, maintaining composure while quietly navigating the social world on their own terms. This makes them appear enigmatic, distant, or even intimidating to those who measure femininity by outward expressions rather than internal conviction. At the same time, this disconnection fuels their uniqueness. Free from the pressure to perform or compete for validation, they cultivate individuality in every aspect of life. Their choices, in career, relationships, or personal style, are dictated by internal logic and self-respect, not trends or expectations. This often makes them magnetic, though misunderstood, because the independence and authenticity they radiate stand in stark contrast to the performative behaviors surrounding them. Ultimately, the Sigma female's alienation from normal femininity is both a source of power and quiet tension. She may navigate a world built on superficial norms, but she does so on her own terms, quietly defining what femininity means for herself: strong, autonomous, and uncompromisingly authentic. Number 10. They keep their rage surgical. Sigma females handle anger in a way that is both deliberate and chillingly effective. Unlike most people who react impulsively when provoked, they don't allow emotion to cloud judgment or give anyone the satisfaction of seeing them lose control. Their rage is never chaotic. It's measured, refined, and stored until the moment it can achieve maximum impact. They understand that true power lies not in volume or spectacle, but in precision. A single carefully chosen word, a strategic action, or an impeccably timed decision can inflict far more damage than hours of shouting or confrontation ever could. This surgical approach to anger is rooted in patience and observation. Sigma females take note of weaknesses, insecurities, and vulnerabilities, filing them away until they are needed. They don't lash out for immediate relief. Doing so would only dilute their influence. Instead, they wait for the exact moment when their actions will produce the most profound effect, often leaving others stunned, humiliated, or disoriented by the subtlety of the blow. It's quiet, almost invisible, but devastatingly effective. The beauty of this control is that it protects them. By never showing raw anger impulsively, they avoid unnecessary conflict and preserve their autonomy. People rarely see it coming, which makes it more powerful. It's a warning hidden in plain sight. Underestimate them, provoke them, or disrespect them, and the consequences will appear where you least expect, leaving lasting impact long after the moment has passed. Moreover, this surgical rage isn't fueled by malice for its own sake. It's strategic, a tool to maintain boundaries and assert authority without chaos. It reflects intelligence, emotional discipline, and self-awareness, qualities that make Sigma females quietly formidable. While others burn out in loud confrontations, she stores her fire, shaping it into a weapon that is as precise as it is unavoidable. In the end, Sigma females' rage is invisible but undeniable. It's a silent storm that can dismantle pride, control outcomes, and shift dynamics without ever needing to scream, stomp, or explode. It's the rage of someone who understands that subtlety often hits harder than spectacle. Number 11. They often feel unseen even when admired. Sigma females carry a quiet, almost paradoxical burden. They are constantly observed, admired, and even envied, yet they often feel completely unseen. People are drawn to their confidence, independence, and aura of mystery, labeling them as different or unapproachable. But very few ever take the effort to truly understand what lies beneath the surface. Compliments, attention, and admiration come from a distance, and while flattering, these external perceptions rarely penetrate the layers of their inner world. This sense of invisibility can be surprisingly isolating. The Sigma female is constantly aware that people interact with the version of her they choose to show. A composed, self-sufficient exterior, carefully curated to protect her vulnerabilities. What she truly thinks, feels, or fears often remains locked away, invisible even to those closest to her. She may laugh, engage, and participate in conversations, but inside, there is a depth that is rarely recognized or appreciated. This creates a silent tension. The world expects her to be admired, yet she longs for understanding, not performance. Her isolation is compounded by the fact that most people mistake her independence for indifference. They see her self-sufficiency and assume she doesn't need connection or empathy, failing to recognize the subtle ways she yearns to be known on a deeper level. Yet revealing this longing would compromise her autonomy and the careful control she maintains over her personal world. So she endures the loneliness quietly, accepting admiration at a surface level while guarding the truth of her inner life. This paradox, being both celebrated and invisible, sharpens her insight. It teaches her to navigate relationships with extreme discernment, to cherish the rare few who actually see her, and to value depth over quantity in every interaction. Being unseen has its costs, but it also becomes a source of strength. She learns that true understanding is rare and that her worth does not depend on widespread recognition, but on the rare moments when someone glimpses the real person behind the mask. In essence, Sigma females live in a world where admiration is constant, but true comprehension is rare, and the quiet ache of being unseen shapes the depth, intelligence, and guarded power that define them. Number 12. They use independence as a shield, not just strength. Sigma females wear their independence like armor, and it's not always about pride or empowerment. On the surface, it looks like confidence and self-sufficiency, the kind that draws admiration and sometimes envy. But beneath that exterior, independence often functions as a shield, a carefully constructed barrier designed to protect them from disappointment, betrayal, or exploitation. They've seen how quickly people can weaponize trust, kindness, or emotional openness, and they've learned that the safest place is to rely primarily on themselves. This doesn't mean they reject connection or intimacy outright. It means they approach relationships with caution and calculation. Dependence for them is a risk, not a given. By keeping their autonomy intact, They avoid giving anyone the leverage to hurt them, manipulate them, or take advantage of their vulnerability. Independence becomes a silent contract with themselves. Control your life, protect your emotions, and don't hand the power of your well-being to someone else who may not value it. The shield is subtle, almost invisible to outsiders. People often interpret it as strength, resilience, or even aloofness, unaware that it is also a defensive mechanism. Sigma females rarely reveal the anxiety, wariness, or past experiences that necessitated this armor. Doing so would risk weakening it, and with it, the protection it provides. Interestingly, this shield doesn't stifle their ambition or creativity. It sharpens it. It forces them to develop solutions independently, to think strategically, and to cultivate skills and resources that make reliance on others optional, not necessary. It also creates a sense of inner security, because they know that, no matter what happens, their stability doesn't depend on anyone else's choices or moods. In essence, a Sigma female's independence is dual purpose. It is both a strength that defines her and a shield that protects her. It allows her to navigate a world where trust is rare, loyalty is uncertain, and emotional vulnerability can be costly. And while few see the protective layer beneath the confidence, it is precisely this combination of power and caution that makes her quietly formidable. Sigma females are a study in contrasts. Powerful yet guarded, independent yet quietly vulnerable, observant yet invisible in plain sight. They move through the world on their own terms, carefully measuring every connection, every word, and every action, revealing only what serves them while keeping the rest of their brilliance, insight, and strategy hidden. Their independence is both a shield and a strength. Their calm composure masks a mind that studies, calculates, and anticipates with surgical precision. And their silence often speaks louder than any words could. What makes them truly extraordinary is the depth of their unseen world. They compete with themselves rather than others, store their rage with precision, manipulate energy instead of forcing outcomes, and explore the shadows of life that most avoid, all while remaining enigmatic, almost untouchable to those around them. Friendships are chosen with care. Admiration is filtered with suspicion, and brilliance is held back until the timing is right. Every layer of their personality is deliberate, every action quietly strategic, and every hidden thought a source of immense personal power. Sigma females are rarely fully understood, and perhaps that is the point. Their allure, their mystery, and their strength lie not just in what they show, but in what they carefully conceal. To encounter a Sigma female is to witness someone who operates on a level few can comprehend, a woman whose intelligence, independence, and insight shape the world around her, often without anyone realizing it. They are proof that true power doesn't need to announce itself, and that the most profound forces often work silently. Understanding them, even partially, is enough to see why they command respect, intrigue, and at times, fear, all without ever needing to explain themselves. The Sigma female is not just a personality. She is an experience, a quiet revolution, and a reminder that the depth of a person cannot always be measured by what is visible. If you found this insight into Sigma females fascinating, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss content like this. Like the video if it gave you a new perspective. Comment below with your thoughts or experiences, and share it with anyone who needs to understand the power and mystery of a Sigma female. Your support helps us keep bringing these deep, eye-opening insights straight to you.